Today we'll be going into an interesting topic. We'll be talking about boundaries in relationships. And so, first of all, we just want to talk about what boundaries are, and then different forms of boundaries in different forms of relationships.
Yes.
So, Suki, what do you have to say about what boundaries are?
Yeah, so boundary is a limit or edge that defines you as separate from others.
Limit or edge. Okay.
That defines you as separate from others.
Okay.
I think God created us as distinct entities, distinct humans. No two people, even twins, are not the same. They are different than others. And He gave us a mind. So you have your own mind, your own, ways of doing things, which is unique and different than other person. So yeah, that's a good one.
That's a good one. But I also wanted to add that boundaries for me just feels like what you're comfortable with, what you're not comfortable with, kind of the rules that define you to make you live your higher self, uniquely you, basically. So
boundaries are important because I think people who have strong boundaries are usually seen as very opinionated and strong-willed people, right? People who know, because it takes you having strong boundaries to be a successful businessman, businesswoman, professional, person in your career. Because if you don't know what your limit is, you would keep on taking on more than you can even, assimilate or deal or handle. And that way you are spread too thin. You can be the best version of yourself. But if hey, this is my limit, this is my boundary, this is what I can do and what I cannot do, just helps you focus and become more specialized.
And also it's important for other people too. If people know your boundaries, then there's the less likelihood that there will be people take advantage of you. And then they also respect the fact that you have boundaries, and that way it's easier to relate with you because they know what you want. You're very assertive about your needs. So it's also just not for you, it's also for other people to know how to treat you and how to relate with you.
That's true.
Basically.
That's true. True. And do you think boundaries, like growing up with our culture, African culture, do you think it encourages and enforces boundary?
I would say we don't even have bounds, talk less of
boundary. We don't have bounds, talk less of
everybody's just in your space, everybody's in your business in Africa.
And why shouldn't they be it's almost like I have the right to be in your space, to be here,
because we grew up in the African culture is communal, right? It's a communal society where everybody is, as in your interest is not only your interest, right? Your interest is the interest of other people. The community. You know how herd mentality, even simple things. For example, weddings in Africa. You hear the bride and groom saying, this wedding is not my wedding, no, it's for the family. People what do they want? What most times the groom and the bride, they don't even they hardly have input, except maybe the dress or so. Sometimes some people want a smaller wedding, and then the family is no, we want a big wedding, and then so little things like that show you how communal our society is. It's not just you, it's not about you, it is a communal thing, a family thing. So we did not have boundaries.
And if you have boundaries, you're seen as being selfish. Why are you not?
Why is it about? So coming from there is or even wicked, basically. They'll be why do you have to be the odd one out? You're a wicked person. But coming and seeing that boundaries are also for your highest good. They are necessary. We need them. We need boundaries to be able to be the best that God. We talked about people pleasing, right? So knowing that we need boundaries to be who God has called us to be.
Right. People who struggle with people pleasing have little or no boundaries. And that's why they are so easy target for manipulative, abusive people, because someone who is manipulative just wants someone we know
so they can get what they want.
So they can get what they want. But having a boundary, and I think it's good we encourage people, like children, like kids, just even as parents, you can teach your children how to have boundaries. When they say no to you, even you as a parent, you should accept no, especially if it's within reason, right? They say come and eat, and they say no, why don't you want to eat? Because I am full. Okay, fine. it's in a way teaching them how to, you know, establish boundaries for themselves, because otherwise, it's so funny because in Nigeria, I think our culture too, like it was until I came to America I realized that wow, I'm actually a distinct human. I can actually say no, and it's okay to say no, and I'm my own person. I don't have to go with what every other person says, right? Because nobody creates me a robot, you know, and
the one I just found so like enlightening recently was I can actually say no, and I don't need to explain. Like when I'm talking to like my boss, and then she's like, I was like, that is really nice that I can actually say, oh, I can't be here this so mean. I don't have to tell you why. Like there's no need to, but because I grew up like you have to explain why you're not doing that thing. Like Sunday, why you're not going to church? Why? What's the reason?
Even if you give them why, you still will go, because it's not your will that shall be done. It's your parents' will. It's the adult's will. You know, so that way you don't even know how to pull back. You're like, you know, it was until I came here that was even when I knew what boundary was. When maybe someone kind of cuts me, or maybe comes into my space in an unexpected way, or I didn't prepare for, I'm like, it kind of puts me back, like, hey, get out, this is my boundary. It's only when I came I started having that reaction to such invasions. But before in Nigeria, it's like someone comes into your space, okay, now they just knock on your door, you come in, like, you know. But I think and that way you're just
it's just a lot. So let's talk about like examples of boundaries. Like what exactly are these boundaries? Let's talk about the examples.
Yes.
I feel for me the biggest one is saying no without feeling guilty. You understand? Look, you can say no and still feel guilty, but being able to say no and not feel guilty is a great is boundary. Like it's showing you that you have been able to put your own feelings like in place before any other thing. So saying no is for me is boundary. What about you?
I agree too. Saying no is like one of the biggest, I think it's the main boundary, like definer. That's the thing that you know, this doesn't work for me. It doesn't, the timing is not right for me. It's not what I want to do with my life or my time, so I cannot do this, or I don't have the resources to support you, or I know you want. It's just no. It's just
a complete
sentence in establishing boundaries, right? Like, honestly, like we said, different relationships, not just in friendship relationship, even family relationship. We're going to go through that, like how do we establish boundary? So how do we establish boundary? Let's start with family relationship.
Like different ways to establish boundary in family relationships. So for example, if someone wants to come to your house, like in America, you're expected that to host them, to take care of them, plan their meals, do things. So it's expected. So one of the boundaries will be, okay, please let me know so that I can plan ahead. It don't take too much, so I can take time off work. So the reason why you're letting me know is because you actually respect me to be able to give me the time and the space to handle your coming, so I'm able to effectively host you.
Right. Yes, that's true. That's a good one. I've heard stories of like people who have parents like back home and siblings where it's almost like, oh, you always have to do this for them, you can't even have your own thing going, your own investments. Like you just always have to be doing for them, and you can't say no, because it's going to say, but I raised you, I trained you so that you can train your younger ones, so that you can help, you know, all of those.
And then you take on things that you can't
even handle.
I know that there was a story one of my friends told me there, like she got married and she had to move. They had to move because at that time her husband wasn't really doing well, so they had to move in with like her in-laws, and she hated it. Like it was something that she hated because she didn't feel like she could do what she wanted. You know how you're married and you want to take care of your house the way you really want to take care, and not everybody being in your space. So for her, she felt that was like a boundary that she would have insisted on before getting married, and because of it, it kind of caused like resentment for her. So I think boundaries are really good to just in families, just to like get rid of that resentment. So people are not taking more than they can handle. So
that's true. Resentment, really that's true. Because when you keep breaking my boundary, I might not be able to tell you, but I just become resentful of you. Which is not good. That's true. Anyway. For our African families, it's like, I don't know, I feel like Oyinbo people, they know how to keep, everyone respects themselves, stay on their own, but in Africa, it's like you have to keep, if you don't stand up for yourself, and people just, run over you with their
Yeah. And then when you have boundaries, I feel like it's good to know that it will not be easy, because this is something new for us.
Yes.
And you're asking people to respect your boundaries when there hasn't been a boundary there before.
Yes.
So you might be it's good to expect pushback a little bit, and then to plan for it and to navigate it when it eventually comes.
That's true.
And then there should be like, okay, what would be done if somebody consistently like breaks your boundary?
Yeah, that's what that was the next question I was gonna ask. So how do you enforce those boundaries? Like, how do you ensure those boundaries? Yeah,
I think the simple thing a lot of people recommend is that always putting a consequence to it. So for example, if you go to an event and you are not respected or you are insulted, you can say, I'm going to leave this event now. Or you can say, I will not come to your event if you speak to me that way.
Yes.
You understand?
Yes.
So putting consequence like for it, it's helpful, because if there's no consequence, then people just do what they like.
And I think that it's in fact the way what you articulated now is so key, because you're telling them, hey, this is how I want you to treat me, this is how I expect to be treated. If you don't, then I'm taking my leave, right? So they even know where you stand. It's not like they don't know. You're telling them this is,
you're already telling them up front.
Yeah, I know someone who was saying, I think she said her mom, I think I was listening to a podcast, right?
Yeah.
So that mom always, Nigerian mom, they'll just call you at every point, like call you every day. I'm like, people have moms to call themselves. I wish I had my mom to call me, like, But anyway, so she was like, that she's been telling her mom not to always call her that way every day because she's busy, right? So I think she said the way she enforced that boundary was that she told her mom, if you call me so and so time, I won't pick your phone. Just know that if I don't pick, just know that I saw it, but I chose not to pick. Not that I didn't see it, but just to tell you. So I thought that was funny.
Did the mom change?
African mom.
So you just think all that times 2 well, that's like, and then I like personal boundaries too. I'm learning that a lot, and I think
tell me about that.
I think personal boundaries is like self-care.
Okay.
Like, this is what I'm gonna do for myself. If I do this, and then I can reward myself with this. It's like a personal boundary is like a form of self-care for you. Like taking care of yourself, taking time for yourself, just to like sit alone or just be cognizant with your feelings, or do what you want to do, what you really like to do, explore new things, like we're talking about. Those are like personal boundaries. Anything that helps you like achieve your recharge and be your best self is personal boundary.
I like that. I like that. Okay. The next one is friendship boundaries. How do you enforce boundaries in friendship, and is it important? Is it necessary?
Like telling your friends who you are, because like somebody said, if you don't tell people who you are, then whatever name they treat you, take it, right? Give an example. I was listening to a podcast, and the girl was saying that how her friend, she just moved to Canada. Every single time we ask her, please, can we go clubbing, and she doesn't club. So she's like, have I not told you I don't club? What's your problem? Do you understand? So she's like, I don't club. It's like, why don't you club? Everybody's doing it here. That's how they have fun here. She's like, I did not club in Nigeria when I was younger. It's now when I'm I'm older, I'll now come to another country and be doing that. Not like clubbing is bad, please don't get me wrong, but that was like her core value and her personal preference. So she had to constantly tell this person, and this person still kept on every time asking her, where are we going to go? She just told her, you know what, if the next time you ask me about this clubbing, I will not answer you again. And that's when her friend stopped. You know, her friend was serious. Well, until her friend said, if you don't stop talking about this clubbing thing, the next time you ask me about this clubbing thing, I will not even answer you. I will just ghost you. So
that's an annoying friend that just keeps, that has no respect for people's, opinion and boundary. Like just keep prodding.
Maybe she will change her mind. Maybe she will change her mind tomorrow. You understand that kind of thing.
Yeah, that's true though. Friendship boundary is key, and I think it's important at the beginning of your friendship to even establish those boundaries. Right? Like, otherwise, you just keep going and things can go the other way. Actually, if you like just people with different personalities, especially like one person is extroverted, the other person is introverted, I mean, to be friends, you don't have to be the same all the way. You can have different but there should be some kind of, this is the line where we shouldn't cross each other. That will help. Okay, the other one is work relationship boundaries. So do you establish boundary with your colleagues at work?
That's the one I establish boundary with.
Okay.
I don't know. Please, I feel like work, I'm the kind of person that is like, work is work.
Okay.
Let me just face my work, do my work, and go home. Do you understand?
No bloodlines.
It's hard. They invite me sometimes, I go, right? Yeah. But like, work for me is like work. I just go to work, I do my work, and then I go. Like, I'm not like looking for anything, because like with work, you don't know. I don't want to be discussing my personal life with you at work. I talk about some things, but something I don't want like overshared in the office, I will not talk about it. So I think during the personal life, because they employed you to be productive, right, at your work. So
that's true.
You have to, I feel like you have to, especially in the Western world, have that boundary at work.
Even with like maybe work, like the actual work, if you have someone who is always piling up things to your to-do list or to your plate, like, oh, do it, and then you're just the one always carrying everybody's. They say, I saw some where they said, I don't know if it was a meme or a quote. I think they said maybe 2% of people at work are the ones that do 80% of the work for everyone.
It's true now.
And I think it's true because I know, like in my team, for instance, I know I'm definitely not in that 2%. I know there's someone who carries more load, right? But you just realize that some people actually get there, like they roll up their sleeves and they actually get into the work, right? And such people don't even make too much noise, right? And some other people is just to parade around as though they're doing so much, but they're not really doing. So I think if you fall within that 2%, make sure you establish a boundary. Hey, you pushing on and make. You know how
they'll just leave the
work for you. Just like when you're in a team project where they'll give assignments, only one person or two people will do.
The person will do. They'll not
come and write their name.
They'll not write their name. Other than that, thank you, boy. Thank you. No. Please establish boundaries.
Establish boundaries. Yeah. And also for us, for instance, Amaka, as being foreigners here in like corporate America, like women, minority and all that, I think it's also good to establish boundary in the area of what you will take and what you won't take, right? Like setting that boundary of I should be seen, I should be heard, my opinion should count as well. I think it helps in the workplace. Just
yes, and also I feel just to add to that, communicating when the boundary has been violated, because some people might not know. Like you might have to sometimes say, "Oh, I don't think you heard me," or
I don't think I'm being included in this.
Or I don't think my opinion was really heard, because they can. It can look like you were heard, but we're not actually heard because nothing was done. There are times I've over communicated because I'm like, this thing I talked about, nothing has been done. And my manager is very good. She really appreciates it because she'll be like, oh, thank you for bringing that up to me again. But sometimes you have to be the one to like over communicate and say, this thing has not been done, or this thing I don't really like how it went. You understand? Because then you're not just doing it for yourself, you're doing it for yourself, but you're also doing it so that the person knows not to do it to another person. That's another reason to create boundaries. That's true.
Because sometimes it might be the only person from that race or that culture they've encountered, so now they know, okay, this is how to deal with African women or black women or black whatever the situation is. That's true.
And boundaries, they will help people be able to, and I feel they make your relationship healthy because they take away that
the guesswork, the guesswork of does she like this, does she not like this?
Clear, you understand, because you're talking about yourself.
That's true.
Setting boundaries is really hard. Because like, first of all, you have to know yourself.
If you're a people pleaser, like recovering people pleaser, it's so hard sometimes to set those boundaries.
And then first of all, you have to know yourself. You have to know what you like, what you will not like, what you will take, what you will not take. And sometimes those things come with experience of what you've tried in the past and did not work. Then you not be like, no, I'm not doing that again. So that forms your boundary, right?
Okay. So that one is relationship boundary, like dating, marital, like those type of boundaries. I think it's important, right? So for instance, for me, like I this year I kind of dabbled into like online, dating and all that. So you definitely have to set boundaries, otherwise it can go the other way, right? So like you're going on a date with someone who maybe wants to have a drink and then they are suggesting or wanting to force you or insinuate that you take alcohol when you probably don't take alcohol, right? So you should be able to say, even though you're trying to impress this person you just met because you really like them, but you're like, you know what? No, sorry, I don't take alcohol.
Value, yeah.
Let me have maybe something else, that kind of a thing. So even in when it becomes more serious, like, you know, like how do you want to go about your dating? Do you want to, you know, have intimate relations? Do you want to, like, all of those things are also boundaries that it's important to set at the beginning, so that everyone knows where, you know, each person stands.
I think in marriage too, it's just like communication, like boundaries with like communication, knowing yourself. So just knowing yourself, communicating those boundaries, being clear about it, your expectations.
Yeah, that's true. Communication is like the key, because you're not able to communicate properly what those boundaries are. Everything goes. And then finally, church, you know, in church, do you need to have, because I know we encourage doing life together, community, small group, you know, should we have boundaries where, I don't want to share this with you, I want to keep it to myself, or should there be boundaries in church community?
Yeah, there should be boundaries everywhere, church inclusive. So if you don't want to share something, you shouldn't feel
pressured or obligated
to share. Just say, I can't share that. Or if you want to share as little as you can, then you share as little as you can. If someone is asking you a question you're not comfortable with sharing, say, I can't comment on that. You know, like like the Caucasian friends that I have, they're very straight up with what they want. Like they'll say, I really can't share that, or I can't talk about that right now. Like one day I asked somebody something, but they're just being insane. One day, the one guy was at work, he was just doing something. Somebody was asking a question, you know how you're concentrating on something. He was like, please, could you just help me with this? The guy was like, I can't do that right now. And it sounded like me, because I would have been like, I would have at least turned to you and be like, okay, what do you need help with? But the guy was like, but I could understand, he did not want to be distracted from that thing he was doing. That's boundary right there, as simple as that. Or telling somebody, stop, I don't like that. That's boundary right there.
No, Caucasians are good at doing that. They just tell you hold her straight up. They don't. We are the ones that still be doing it. And again, it goes again to upbringing, the way we're brought up. You know.
Yes. You don't want to hurt anybody. Right.
We're so used to pleasing our parents, our older ones, that it's just they don't even know how to set boundaries. So I wanted to ask, okay, so when it comes to church as well, should there be boundary between like maybe the church leadership, like pastors and the members, or is it just, you know, you tell them everything and like you almost like 100% accountable to them, and you know, are there things you should keep to yourself? And
okay, members to pastors,
yes, or leaders in church, or like just things like that.
My dear, I don't think you should. People have a right to privacy. Let me start here.
Thank you. People have a right to privacy. I like that.
If you're a pastor looking to know everything about somebody's life, please check yourself. Is it control you're looking for, or is it something else? Say, my sister, let's pray about it. No, did the person ask you for prayer? The person can pray. You understand? Don't use prayer as a means of carrying information and then no. I don't think. I think people have a right to privacy. People have a right to what they want to share,
and they want to keep
people
to
are not
themselves.
what they want to keep to themselves. Some people, are they even led to share it with you? Even though you're their pastor, have they been led to share it with you? So no, I think there should be boundaries in church too as well.
That's true. Yeah, I agree. There should be boundaries. So I think in the heart of these boundaries, just for us to be, and again, I think people would love to control others, don't like boundary. People would love control, don't like boundary, because that boundary, like, it is like a wall. They're hitting against the wall because they want to be able to penetrate through. They want to be able to get through and, you know, do what they want with you. But you know, it's they don't like it. So for someone who wants to have healthy relationships, I think it's important you have boundaries so that you don't have such abusive, controlling people.
Be okay. Take advantage. Let people, when you should make boundaries, actually when you notice that a situation is causing you to be resentful. If something is causing you to be resentful, let's say somebody's asking you for something, even though you are saying yes, but the back of your mind, the inner back of your mind, you know that, this thing I can't really do it, or I would have loved to say no, but I don't want to hurt this person, or I don't want to feel guilty, I don't want to feel with I don't want to deal with the uncomfortable feeling of feeling guilty. That's when you need to set boundaries, because what boundaries will help you do is it will stop you at your limit, so you're not taking things more than you can handle and causing like resentment, because that other person too does not deserve any resentment. You don't deserve to lose your peace over something you could have avoided.
Share your stories with us. Let's know what you think about boundaries. You set boundaries, you have boundaries, you know, how easy it is. How do you react? How do you enforce boundaries? When people break your boundary, what do you do? We'd like to learn from you as well and hear what your experiences are. But yeah, it's been a good topic.
It's been great.
Thank you so much for sticking it out with us. If you listen to the end, we really, really appreciate you. Thank you so much.
And remember, just like comment, share,
subscribe.
Thank
you. Bye.
Bye.